There is this um, very specific, very modern type of heartbreak in the digital business world today.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you spend hours, or I mean, maybe even days mapping out a video.
Mm.
You film it, you edit it perfectly, you post it online, and it actually works.
Right. It catches the algorithm just right.
Yes, you get 10,000, maybe 100,000, or even like a million views.
Mm.
The notifications are literally melting your battery. The dopamine is spiking.
Yeah, you're thinking, this is it. We finally cracked it.
Exactly. Then you log into your back-end sales dashboard, you take a breath, you hit refresh, and there is absolutely zero change in your revenue, like a complete flatline.
It is the ultimate digital mirage. You see this massive oasis of attention, and you think you've arrived, but when you reach down to take a drink, you just get a handful of sand.
It's maddening. It's incredibly frustrating for anyone trying to build a brand right now because getting sheer attention online has arguably never been easier.
Right.
But translating that attention into actual measurable dollars, that feels harder than ever. So welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to solve this exact paradox, getting massive viral views, but seeing zero sales.
And we are pulling our insights today from a brilliant operational framework called the TikTok Conversion Engine, turning views into revenue.
Which is such a good read.
It really is. What I appreciate about this material is that it completely dismantles the disconnect between virality and profitability, and then it reconstructs a system that actually works.
Right out of the gate, I mean, we have to talk about a massive paradigm shift. The fundamental track almost everyone falls into is treating TikTok the exact same way they've historically treated Instagram.
Right, the copy-paste strategy.
Exactly. They are posting these highly curated, beautifully aesthetic, lifestyle-heavy pieces of content, and then they just sit back, cross their fingers, and pray that a simple like magically mutates into a credit card transaction.
Which is wild because these two platforms have completely different DNA.
Completely.
What's fascinating here is the underlying architecture of the algorithms themselves. If we look under the hood, older platforms were built on a social graph.
Right.
They cared about who you knew, who you followed, and preserving a certain aesthetic status. But TikTok, it's built on a behavioral graph.
Meaning it doesn't care how pretty the video is.
It doesn't actually care about your aesthetic at all. It rewards raw behavior and intent. The algorithm is relentlessly watching what users actually do.
Wow.
So watch time completion matters exponentially more than your follower count. Actual trackable conversions matter more than simple vanity metrics like comments or shares.
So if your content is just a beautiful dead end, meaning, it's nice to look at, but it doesn't compel the viewer toward a specific trackable action, the algorithm just eventually abandons it.
Exactly.
You're effectively building a gorgeous neon billboard in the middle of a desert, but you forgot to build an exit ramp.
That's a great way to put it. And your audience has absolutely no logical reason to buy anything because, well, you haven't given them the infrastructure to do so.
Which means we need to talk about friction. Okay, let's unpack this. Before you can even begin to think about engineering a viewer's desire or changing their behavior, you have to physically allow them to act on their impulse without annoying them.
Right, the physical barrier.
Yeah, we're moving from the psychological barrier of getting attention to the literal barrier of e-commerce checkout. I mean, relying on a traditional link in bio strategy is like having a customer excitedly pick up a sweater in your retail store, but then you force them to walk out the front door, cross a busy 6-lane intersection, navigate oncoming traffic, and enter a completely different building just to find a cash register to pay.
That is the perfect way to visualize the cognitive load of a link in bio.
It's just too much work.
It really is. Every single step you add to a digital transaction, minimizing the video, clicking to a profile, clicking a link, waiting for a mobile browser to load, entering shipping details, that's a micro friction.
Yeah.
And every micro friction acts like a bucket of cold water. It is a chance for the customer to wake up from that fragile, impulsive buying trance and just close the app entirely. You are actively killing your own conversion rate by making them work for it.
So the obvious solution is to stop making them cross the street. And the text points directly to the built-in sales funnel, which is TikTok Shop. But let's get into the mechanics of this. How are we actually removing that street?
Well, you are bringing the cash register directly to the customer while they are still holding the sweater. Mechanically, you register the business in the Seller Center and you upload your product catalog.
Okay, sounds standard.
It is, but you don't just dump raw SKUs in there. You optimize the titles and descriptions natively for the platform's search engine. Once that foundation is integrated, you connect your video content directly to those products using the Yellow Basket.
The Yellow Basket. I mean, It almost sounds too simple to be the backbone of a conversion engine.
It sounds simple, but the psychology behind it is profound. The yellow basket is a clickable shopping icon that anchors directly onto the video itself.
Right, or on the screen.
Exactly. While the person is watching your product solve a problem, the basket is hovering right there. They don't navigate away. They don't have to memorize a promo code to type in later.
Oh, that's huge.
They tap the basket, the native checkout pops up, their payment info is usually already saved in the app, and they buy it. No drop-off, no loading screens. It compresses the entire customer journey from discovery to purchase into a matter of seconds.
Okay, but let's be realistic for a second. Let's say I launch a new brand tomorrow. I set up my shop, I get my yellow basket ready, but I have exactly 12 followers.
Sure.
A yellow basket isn't going to magically generate traffic out of thin air, is it? Like, don't you need a massive legacy audience to actually make this infrastructure work?
It's a highly logical pushback, but it goes back to that behavioral graph we talked about earlier. The answer is absolutely not.
Really, zero audience needs...
Zero. You do not need a massive audience because the platform operates as a meritocracy at the individual video level. The algorithm does not care about the legacy or the clout of the account posting it.
Wow.
It only cares about how the test audience responds to the current video. If a brand new account posts a video that holds attention and drives a conversion, the algorithm will instantly push it to 10,000, then 100,000 people.
That's incredible.
The distribution is based on the performance of the content, not the pedigree of the creator.
Okay, so the yellow basket fixes the physical checkout problem.
Yeah.
The exit ramp is built. But nobody taps a checkout button just because it's physically easy to reach. They have to actually want the product.
Exactly.
How do we engineer that desire? If the plumbing is perfect, we still need to figure out how to pump the water through it.
Right, because an empty pipe generates zero revenue. This is where we have to draw a very sharp, almost brutal distinction between content that entertains and content that converts.
I'm so glad you brought that up because so many marketers get caught in that entertainment trap. Like, if your content is only entertaining, if it's just a funny skit or a trending dance, it stops at views.
Yes.
You get the dopamine spike, you get a laugh, you get a share, but you do not get a sale because entertainment doesn't inherently create intent.
Not at all.
Every single video in this engine needs to answer one hyper-specific question for the viewer. Why should I pull out my wallet and buy this right this second?
And you cannot rely on lightning striking or, random creative inspiration to answer that question consistently. You need a rigid, repeatable structure.
It's a formula.
Yes, the conversion-driven formula is very specific. It operates sequentially.
Yeah.
Hook, problem, demonstration, proof, call to action.
Okay, let's unpack the psychology of bypassing the brain's ad blocker with this formula. Say you're selling a mattifying skincare product.
Yeah.
If you just say, buy our new face wash, people keep scrolling.
Yep.
But what if your hook is, stop buying this if you have oily skin?
That is a brilliant hook because it accomplishes two things instantly. First, pattern interruption. Telling someone not to do something disrupts the endless scroll.
Right.
Second, and more importantly, it qualifies the lead. You are actively pushing away people with dry skin. You don't want them watching because they won't buy, and that will mess up your algorithmic conversion data. You only want people with oily skin to stay.
Ah, so you're training the algorithm on who your buyer is right from the first second.
Yeah.
Then you move into the problem. You validate their daily frustration, the shiny forehead by 2 p.m. Then the demonstration.
And this is where the magic happens.
Yeah, you have to visually show your product solving that exact issue in under 30 seconds.
The time frame and the visual nature are critical here. Why does a 30-second visual demonstration work? Because of mirror neurons in the brain.
Mirror neurons?
Yeah. When a viewer sees someone physically applying a product and instantly removing the shine from their skin, they experience a somatic, empathetic response. You aren't selling them in the traditional sense.
Right, because nobody goes on social media hoping to watch a TV commercial.
Exactly. They go to find solutions to their micro-frustrations. By demonstrating the fix, you bypass their natural defense mechanism against being sold to.
And then you hit them with the proof. Right, like rapid-fire testimonials or before and afters to validate the logic of the purchase. And finally, the call to action. But you aren't saying, click the link in my bio.
No, you are physically pointing at the yellow basket on the screen.
Showing, not telling.
Exactly. It is an incredibly elegant sequence that manufactures intent and captures it instantly.
It really is. Now, a 30-second formulaic video is brilliant for a $20 impulse buy. But what happens when the price point is a bit higher? Or what if the buyer has a hyper-specific hesitation? A pre-recorded video can't really answer a nuanced question,
No, it can't.
which means we need to move from asynchronous pitches to real-time interactions.
Enter TikTok Live. This is arguably the most potent yet most intimidating revenue driver in the entire ecosystem.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about the traditional retail model. You have a physical boutique, and maybe one or two people walk in every 10 minutes. You greet them, you answer their questions. Now imagine a scaled digital version of that.
Right.
It's like having 100,000 people walk through the front doors of your boutique at the exact same moment.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to speak to them, hold the product up to the light, and answer their objections in real time.
That real-time objection handling is the ultimate conversion multiplier. Because again, the yellow basket is pinned right there on the screen during the position. The tactical execution here is very deliberate. You don't just sit in front of a ring light and read a spec sheet.
Someone wants to watch that.
Exactly. You demonstrate the product continuously, you use it, and as the questions roll in on the chat, you answer them immediately.
So if someone asks, is the material stretchy?
Hmm.
You don't just say yes, you literally grab the fabric and stretch it right to the camera lens.
Exactly. Because that immediate visual validation annihilates friction, the hesitation vanishes. You combine that with constantly pinning the specific product they are asking about, so new viewers joining the stream know what to tap. And finally, you inject urgency.
Right, creating that scarcity. Like, we only have 50 of this specific bundle allocated for this live session.
Urgency forces a decision. When you combine real-time trust building, immediate objection removal, and limited availability, the conversion rates skyrocket compared to static video.
Okay, but I have to push back here. Operating a scaled sales floor sounds amazing in theory,
Sure.
but the reality is founders are already managing supply chains, handling customer service, and, occasionally trying to sleep. Doing a live broadcast 3 to 5 times a week sounds like a fast track to severe burnout.
Mm-hmm.
How do you maintain that pace without losing your mind?
It's a very real concern if you view a live through the lens of traditional media. The secret here is understanding why these sessions work. They do not have to be high-production Broadway shows.
Okay, that's a relief.
You don't need a multi-camera setup, professional lighting, or a teleprompter. In fact, that polished aesthetic often hurts conversions.
Because it feels like a QVC infomercial.
Precisely. It feels manufactured. Some of the highest converting live sessions are just founders casually talking to their phone while literally packing orders at their shipping desk.
Wait, really? Just packing boxes?
Yeah. Why does watching someone tape up cardboard boxes drive sales? Well, in an era dominated by AI-generated content, dropshipping scams, and faceless brands, physical proof of inventory triggers a deep psychological sense of safety for the buyer.
Oh, that makes total sense.
It proves you are a real human with real physical stock who actually ships things to real people. It builds a parasocial bond. Consistency and authenticity build trust far faster than production value.
You're just letting your community hang out with you in the warehouse while you work. It completely demystifies the process.
But let's be honest, even if the lives are casual, doing that 5 times a week, plus scripting and filming daily formula-driven videos, it is still a massive operational bottleneck for a small team. It is a lot of work for one person.
Right. So if you want to turn this from a demanding new job into a true autonomous engine, you have to figure out how to scale.
Which brings us to the multiplier effect. Scaling beyond your own physical limitations requires leveraging other people and algorithms, specifically creators and ads. And we need to start by addressing a very expensive misconception in the marketing world.
The influencer myth. So many brands get some venture capital funding and immediately think, okay, to succeed, I need to pay a mega influencer with 2 million followers to hold my product in a photo.
And that is usually a massive waste of capital. You do not need influencers. You need converting creators.
What's the difference?
There is a structural difference. An influencer has an audience that follows them for their lifestyle aesthetic or celebrity status. A converting creator is someone who deeply understands the mechanics of the platform and knows how to drive an action. You should actively look for smaller creators, what we call micro creators, usually in the 1,000 to 50,000 follower range.
But wait, why that specific smaller range? Shouldn't we want the biggest megaphone possible?
Because you aren't buying a megaphone, you are buying a conversion mechanism.
Okay.
You are actively ignoring vanity metrics like follower counts. Instead, you are looking at their engagement rates.
Okay.
Do they respond to comments? How strong are their storytelling skills? Does their content feel native and raw, or does it look like a glossy, skippable ad?
Right.
You are looking for creators who know how to deploy that exact formula we discussed. Hook, problem, demo, proof. A smaller creator who can authentically demonstrate a problem will drive 10 times the actual sales of a massive influencer who just posts a lazy selfie holding your packaging.
So what does this actually look like systematically? It means you stop paying exorbitant flat fees for one-off promotional posts. You aren't buying a shout-out. You are building an outsourced content engine. You send your product to a curated roster of these converting creators, and here is the key. You give them creative freedom.
Yes, absolutely crucial.
You do not hand them a rigid corporate script, because corporate scripts get swiped past.
Yeah.
You let them speak to their audience in their native language, and you ask for multiple video variations. Suddenly, you have a dozen different videos, testing different hooks, different pain points, running simultaneously out in the wild, and you didn't have to set up a camera once.
And that leads to the final and most powerful gear in the entire engine. Once you have this decentralized content machine running, you watch the data, you are going to see which creator videos perform well organically.
Well, winners will rise to the top.
Exactly. You'll see which ones have high watch time retention and strong engagement. When you find a clear winner, you don't just leave it to the whims of organic reach, you scale it aggressively using ads.
But we aren't talking about traditional disruptive banner ads here.
No, we are talking about Spark ads. A Spark ad allows a brand to boost an organic post directly from a creator's profile, with their permission and a code, of course. To the user scrolling their feed, it looks, feels, and acts exactly like native organic content.
Because it is native content.
Right, it doesn't disrupt the user experience. But here is the critical back-end mechanism that makes this work. When you set up these Spark ads in the dashboard, you must optimize them for conversions, not just traffic or link clicks.
This is a crucial distinction. By optimizing for conversions, you are telling the machine learning algorithm, don't just show this to people who have a habit of clicking on things randomly.
Yes.
You're saying, use your pixel data to find people who have a historical track record of actually checking out and buying things.
Precisely. You are paying the algorithm to hunt for buyers, not scrollers. It's like finding a pilot episode of a TV show that audiences already love and then just paying to syndicate it on every channel rather than spending millions shooting a brand new untested commercial.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
It takes the emotion and the guesswork out of media buying. You move away from crossing your fingers and hoping for unpredictable virality, and you step firmly into the realm of predictable, measurable, scalable sales.
It is brilliant. It completely flips the traditional advertising model. You are letting organic content do the testing and letting the algorithm do the targeting.
If we connect all of these pieces into the bigger picture, you can see how it creates a complete, self-sustaining architecture. Let's recap the 5 pillars working in harmony. First, you have organic videos utilizing the psychological formula to drive discovery and manufacture intent.
Right.
Second, you have TikTok Shop and the yellow basket, removing all physical friction, enabling an instant impulsive purchase. Third, you have live selling operating as your real-time scaled sales floor to handle complex objections and build parasocial trust.
Yeah.
Fourth, you have a decentralized network of converting creators producing scalable native content variations for you. And finally, fifth, you have Spark ads amplifying the exact videos that are already proven to work. When you integrate all of this, the platform transforms from a frustrating vanity metric slot machine into a highly measurable, highly predictable revenue channel.
So, to you listening right now, if you have been feeling overwhelmed by the digital landscape, if you've been staring at your view counts and wondering why the math isn't adding up to pay the bills, let yourself off the hook today. The issue is not your visibility.
No, it's really not.
The issue isn't that the market doesn't like what you have to offer. The issue is simply your system. The friction is too high and the intent is too low. When you ruthlessly remove the checkout friction, when you demonstrate visually instead of just talking, and when you align your content directly with seamless commerce, your growth stops being a frustrating mystery. It becomes a solvable equation.
It's ultimately about respecting the behavioral psychology of the modern consumer. They demand seamlessness, they require visual proof, and they want their micro-frustrations solved instantly without ever having to cross the digital street.
Which brings up a really fascinating and maybe slightly terrifying implication. And it's something I want to leave you, the listener, to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Oh, I like where this is going.
We've just spent the last 20 minutes exploring the sheer, undeniable power of removing absolutely all friction, of engineering a system where you never, ever let a customer leave the app to make a purchase. If this closed-loop instant checkout engine continues to optimize, and if it becomes the dominant default way we buy everything from our daily skincare to our household electronics, will the traditional standalone e-commerce website, the one you actually have to search for on Google, open in a separate browser, and navigate manually, will that eventually become an obsolete relic of the past? Are we watching the death of the traditional website in real time?
Man, it is a profound structural question. The tectonic plates of digital commerce are certainly shifting under our feet right now.
They really are. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it helps you rethink your architecture and turn those viral views into real, tangible momentum. Take care, and we'll catch you next time.